Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching this from. My name is Maryanne Wanjiro Kibuchi and I want to heartily welcome you to another episode of Original Conversations with Maryanne. How are you doing? How is your morning? How is your afternoon? How is your evening? Let me know in the comment section. And with that said, karibu sana, and I just want to take this opportunity to talk to you about our episode today. But before I do, let me introduce myself. My name is Maryanne Wanjiro Kibuchi and I am a multi-gifted psychologist. I'm currently showing up as a mental health show host, educator and entrepreneur. And in today's episode, we are getting into episode 6. We are going on strong. And in this episode, we are going to be talking about original career. Now, before I continue, how many of us have been in a position where we felt like we are in a role, we are in a job, and we are working in a company, we are working in an organization, we are working for a vision, but we don't really connect with it. Or we really struggle to leave the bed every morning to go to show up for that job, to show up for that work. You struggle to leave bed. You feel depressed. Every time you go to the office, it's the same routine every day. And you feel like it's a continuous cycle and it's never breaking. And you feel trapped. You've been doing this for a couple of months maybe. You've been doing it for 3 years, 5 years. And it still feels the same. Well, guess what? This episode, we are going to be talking about all of that. And this is inspired by my own personal journey where I felt, because you're talking about careers, right? I have personally felt like I'm in a role. I think the worst thing for me, I would say, is showing up for a job or for work that I feel I don't connect with, or I feel like they're not tapping into my potential. I think that is where we get the issues, where we feel really stressed, we feel like we are depressed, especially if you have all this huge potential and you feel like you're not really feeling fulfilled in that work. And so we are going to get into all of that in this episode, and I so hope that you're going to connect with it. Let me know in the comment section, do you resonate with what I'm sharing? Or even when you're in a space where you're looking for a job, because sometimes people say, Maryanne, unajua, you're talking about having a job, but I actually don't have a job. It's still okay. Every day as you show up, there's something that you do every day, that even if you're looking for work, there's something that you're doing every day that makes your life feel more meaningful, but you're going to get into that. So let me know in the comment section if what I'm talking about makes sense or if I'm telling stories. But with that said, let us get into today's episode. One of the things that I have currently noticed in my line of work as a counseling psychologist, I was practicing. Now I'm no longer practicing. I'm focusing on creating the content, mental health content instead. One of the things that I noticed is a majority of the life we live is basically inspired by, a lot of our life, a huge chunk of our life is spent in work. So if we're in work, like for a majority, like a long period of time, I know of people who start working from as early as age 8 or 9. They are being introduced to having certain job roles from as early as 9 years old. There are others who get into it later on, maybe 16, 17, 18, 19, and it goes all the way until the 60s. Nowadays, 60 years old. Nowadays, it takes a bit of time before people, there are people who opt not to retire, because that is another story for another day. But failing to retire, if you decide not to retire, it can actually be a very good thing, because it still helps you find purpose and meaning, and there's a way you still show up to help other people, unless it is you have, as you are retiring, you have a plan of what you're going to do after you exit. But most of the time, if you still want to remain very active, there are people, especially, I know, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I know the Chinese people have this philosophy of not retiring. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen it. And it's about showing up every day, and that working, always engaging in physical work. It makes your brain very active, and you don't get prone to diseases like dementia, because now your brain is totally engaged. You still have something to do. But with that said, it is important for us to get to a place where we are learning how to, it's important for us to get into work that we feel passionate about and we feel like we are connecting with. And before I do that, allow me to define the word career. Career is often defined as an occupation undertaken for a significant period of a person's life and with opportunities for progress. So there's a difference between career and work, but just to give, I am using the word career because it is a word that we really understand and we really connect with. It's just making sure that the career path we choose, and it doesn't have to be limited to one thing. Sometimes it evolves as we grow, as we continue working on ourselves, as we age. The likes, dislikes, we get to fine-tune what we really want out of life and what we really want to work on. And so having a career, it is that occupation. It is an occupation that we take over the period and the course of our lives. And like I said, it takes a majority and huge chunk of our lives. And so it is important for us to understand in the concept of originality, because my brand is all about, it's called Originally Maryanne brand, and I'm all about helping people. My vision is to inspire people to reconnect with their original selves, that is their unique selves. And I do that by encouraging people to heal from trauma, to reconnect with the person they were before the trauma, before the shame, before the pain, and all of that. And so it's important for us to reconnect with that person. And if we do not reconnect with our original selves, then it will be very difficult for us to connect with original work or having an original career. And so a lot of people really struggle. Like I personally, if I were to tell you my story, I've personally struggled with my sense of identity, and it really affected my work. I wish I could have my friend here. Her name is Linda Kurgat. Like she really knows, like I've really changed my work. Like I've really changed my job titles, like I don't know how many times over a period of maybe two years, maybe less than 2 years, less than 2 years, yeah, let me just call it less than 2 years, maybe one year and maybe several months, 7-8 months there. I've really struggled. I've really changed my job title like so many times. I call myself a wealth psychologist. I call myself I really changed my titles a lot, but it's because I really didn't feel like I had a solid foundation of having, or really feeling like I had connected with myself. If I really knew who I was, then I would have been able to perhaps stick to one maybe job title, perhaps, or maybe not. I probably it would have really been easier for me to decide this is the path that I want to take and stick with it. And so I know how it feels like not to know what you're supposed to do with your life. I know how it feels like not knowing what career you're supposed to choose. I know how it feels like having a lot of pressure and a lot of people telling you you're supposed to be this, you're supposed to be that. So how do you distinguish between other people's voices and your own unique original voice, and deciding, you know what, this is the career path that I want to choose. I maybe don't want to get into employment. Maybe I want to start my own personal business. I want to start a business, and there's so much pressure of people pressuring you to get into work, to be employed, but it does not quite sit well with you, because you feel like if you work at that particular role, then your potential is underutilized, and you end up feeling depressed. You end up feeling like you don't have a sense of fulfillment in life. And so it's important for us to have to reconnect with our original selves. And like I've said, and I really encourage you, like if you're watching this for the very first time, I want to encourage you to either pause right here and go back to episode 1, Or alternatively, finish this episode and then please go back to episode 1 where we do the introduction and you start following. You'll be able to follow through with my train of thought and what it has taken me to talk about the original career, because all of these topics that I'm talking about, they are themes that I'm going to be talking about and having conversations on in this show, Original Conversations with Maryanne. And so with that said, it's important for us to reconnect with our original selves, to reconnect with the unique self, the healed self, the whole self, the unique self. We reconnect to that part, and then once we do, then it will be easier for us to choose our original career. And what I mean by original career is meaningful work. We end up in choosing careers and work that is actually meaningful, work that you connect with, work that you're going to show up every day and you feel like you are really energized to show up for it. I'm just from having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I was asking him, how do you stop yourself from working on work that you're so passionate about? How do you stop yourself from working? Because the passion is too much, it's too great. You feel like you don't want to take any bathroom breaks, you don't want to stop working, you just want to keep working in the late hours of the night. Now that is original work. That is work that is very fulfilling, and it also incorporates a concept I talk about. It's called flow, but I won't get into that today. I'm actually writing a book concerning having a flourishing life, and that will be available very soon. So please subscribe so that you may be in tune. And also I'm going to share more about myself at the end of the video, so that you're able to keep up and be notified when the book drops, because it's going to be very interesting. And that's why I talk about the concept of flow and positive psychology and how it comes about with work, especially when it comes to our careers. And so it's important for us to reconnect with our original careers so that we do original and meaningful work. We are able to bring positive impact into our society. And also when we look at the concept of work, the original work, it is also linked to our purpose and spirituality. And so that those go hand in hand. Our original self there's the concept of the soul, the body, and the spirit. And so when we're talking about spirit, we're talking about the concept of purpose, the thing that inspires us to show up in the world, to connect with a higher being, a higher purpose, and that higher purpose also connects with the work that we do. And so that is what inspires us to leave the bed every morning and to start working on projects, to start working on careers, to start working on work that brings us meaning, that brings us a sense of joy and fulfillment, a work that we look forward to waking up to every morning, and we don't feel depressed. You don't feel like, oh my God, I have to leave bed. And I'm not saying like when you're connected to your original work that you don't have moments where you don't feel like doing anything. That is absolutely normal. It happens, but the rate at which it happens, it's very minimal, because now if you're fueled by your sense of why, if you're fueled with your sense of having original, if you're fueled by having a sense of purpose, and that purpose connects with the work that you're doing, with the career that you're pursuing, then it will be easier for you to show up for that work, and you cannot help but flourish, and you cannot help but thrive. And so with that said, I just want to end this episode there, because there's a lot we can talk about. I'm just touching on areas that we need to level up in our mental health, and also introducing the show to us. These are topics that we'll be talking about. And so I want to give you a call to subscribe, to please like, share, and subscribe, not only for the sake of the for the sake of helping us and supporting us in what we are doing, but also telling the algorithm that this is a very good channel, and the things that we are doing here, they are going to be very meaningful and impactful to very many people, because you're talking about topics about mental health, and also for you, so that you can be notified when we have a new episode, when it drops, and also you can get to work on yourself and become the next and best version of yourself, because that is what makes us happy. This is our original work. And so I want to call to you to please like, share, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell for this channel so that you can be notified when we drop a new episode. Every new episode, we drop a new episode every Saturday at 9 a.m. East African time. And I also want to encourage you, like I had mentioned earlier, to follow this series. There is a playlist that we have put together that is Original Conversations with Maryanne Season 1. You can follow through with the episodes and start with episode 1, and you're able to follow through with what we're talking about. And so I also want to encourage you to please follow my social media platforms. All of them are in the description box. And also follow our WhatsApp community, where you can be able to join us and find like-minded individuals who are working towards becoming the next best version of themselves and to reconnect to their original identity. And so with that said, I want to thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you. I see you. Sometimes I get notifications that people are subscribing, and I'm so happy. Sometimes I see your names, and I really want to take this time to really congratulate you, and also thank you so much for your support. If you'd like to perhaps even support us in the work that we are doing, like in terms of money, it will really go a long way, and you can find all those details in the description box. It will help us get the funding that we need to be able to invest in new equipment, invest in the right equipment, so that we are able to set up the channel, and we are able to produce good quality mental health conversations and resources and materials for you. And so with that said, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I will see you in the next episode. As always, originally, Maryanne. Bye.